guess what? The second Anthony Davis arrives in Dallas, boom, he gets injured in his first game.
Yeah.
That's like buying a brand new PlayStation and finding out that it doesn't even turn on. But it gets worse. Just a month later, Kyrie Irving tore his ACL, sidelining him for the remainder of the season, maybe even longer.
All right, welcome back to the show, everyone. Hope you all are having a good day so far. So I wanted to react to this video. It's from Cosgrove, and I'm a big fan of Cosgrove. And this one is titled "The Mavericks Never Stood a Chance." Now, I don't know exactly what this video is about, but I assume it has to do with a blockbuster trade, obviously, between Anthony Davis and Luka. So I mean, if that's the case and it's a blanket statement, then I would disagree with that, because as good as Luka is, and obviously I am actually a pretty big Luka fan as far as his offensive skills. I think it made sense on paper to pair up Kyrie with a big guy like Anthony Davis if you're going for a championship right now this season. Obviously, with Anthony Davis getting injured on his first game, that put a damper on the whole thing. He is back now, but now that he's back, Kyrie is injured. So at this point, yeah, the whole thing seems like a bust. But I do stand by it. On paper, this did make sense for about 3 to 4 years to try and win a couple of championships. It really did. But now it looks stupid. The Lakers are actually playing really good with Luka, and yeah, AD has only played a couple of games at this point for Dallas. But anyways, as I always do, I'm going to link the original video from Cosgrove down below. If you haven't checked out the channel, I highly recommend it. Fantastic channel. And let's see what it's all about. Like the video if you haven't done so yet. It helps out a ton. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this, and let's get into it right now.
But it couldn't have started worse.
Oh,
like, if you just look at the way this thing has started, it couldn't have started worse.
Yeah.
We'll see if it winds up getting much better.
Yeah. All I can say is remember the curse of the Bambino.
Oh,
when
yeah.
they traded Babe Ruth, they didn't win a World Series for 100 years. You don't want that to be the same story in Dallas.
In this video, we're going to be discussing whether or not the Mavericks' own GM sabotaged his own team to help the Lakers, and by doing so may have doomed his franchise in more ways than one, which I don't even think he cares anyways.
The future to me is 3-4 years from now. The future 10 years from now, I don't know. I don't think
That was the most awkward press conference, by the way. J-Kid looks so pissed off. All right, let's do this, Cosgrove.
What if I told you that the Dallas Mavericks might be cursed, like really cursed? Think about it, ever since they traded Luka Doncic, everything has gone wrong. It's like the basketball gods are punishing them. The Mavericks' recent misfortunes have drawn parallels to the curse of the Bambino, which plagued the Boston Red Sox after they gave away Babe Ruth. A long time ago in 1919, the Boston Red Sox made the worst decision in baseball history. They agreed to sell Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees, and what followed was decades of heartbreak, and one of the most infamous so-called curses in sports history.
Strange as it seems.
Okay, real quick, let me preface this with, I was actually pulling for Dallas to win a championship even before this trade happened. All right, yes, I am a Suns fan, but we're not even in a playoff hunt right now. So, yeah, I was pulling for Dallas, and yeah, this kind of blew up pretty nastily.
Some Sox fans actually believe there was an unnatural reason for the monumental disappointments, that perhaps a powerful force from the past had cursed their storied franchise. What else could explain the suffering and lament that followed the Sox since the heady days of 1918 and before?
You see, the Red Sox won 5 of the first 15 World Series, but prior to the 1920 season, Boston owner Harry Frazee sold Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees, and from that moment on, Frazee became a villain in Boston.
Harry Frazee is definitely to blame for selling Babe Ruth.
How in the hell do you sell this guy? I blame Harry Frazee. He should never be off the hook. Not then, not now. he must live in infamy forever.
Boston fans were suspicious of him from the start. Unlike previous owners who were deeply entrenched in the Boston baseball world, Frazee was a Broadway producer from New York City. That alone was enough to make some fans uneasy. How could a New Yorker possibly have Boston's best interests at heart? His passion wasn't baseball, it was Broadway. He cared more about his theater ventures than he did his baseball team. An often told story is that Frazee needed money, so he sold Babe Ruth in order to finance his theatrical productions.
Oh,
He's
no.
broke. He needs to pay his bills, and he has no money. So he sold Babe Ruth, his only big commodity.
So they sell him for money so they can fund a play in New York. I mean, it's ludicrous.
If there was no play.
That's crazy to think about, because it's something that drives me nuts nowadays. People acting like they got money who don't have money. But it looks like it was happening back then too, so I guess some things never change.
Then we could have kept him for the whole time. It's just so bad that they had to trade him just for this one play.
For the Yankees,
That's
this was the
terrible.
bargain of the century. For the Red Sox, it was the beginning of a nightmare. Boston fans were furious. Not only did their owner, a New Yorker, just sell their biggest star, but he sold him to their biggest rival. Over the next 86 years, the Red Sox would struggle to reclaim their former glory, while the Yankees built a dynasty. New York was never able to beat the Red Sox before this, but then it flipped. The Red Sox could never seem to beat New York after this deal. Boston went 86 years without winning a championship. Meanwhile, the Yankees won 26 World Series during that 86-year span. The first 4 largely thanks to Babe Ruth.
Ruth goes there, they build a ballpark, and they become this dynasty. Frazee's name becomes mud, and the Red Sox go the exact opposite direction, become the worst they ever were. In terms of his obligation to the fans, I don't see how he can be defended.
Whenever things are going well for the Red Sox, we fans know that they can only get worse. And that's what's happened year after year, it seems. This team is cursed. It's something supernatural, I think. I don't know whether this Fenway Park is built over an old Indian burial ground and that the spirits are haunting us, or whether the day we sold Babe Ruth to the Yankees, we also sold our souls to the devil. I have no idea, but it's got to be supernatural what happens every year.
And now some people are afraid that the Dallas Mavericks might go through something just like that. On February 2nd, 2025, the Mavericks did something unthinkable. They traded Luka to the Lakers in exchange for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a first-round pick. Everyone knew this was a terrible trade because Luka isn't just a great player, he's a once-in-a-generation talent. And guess what? The second Anthony Davis arrives in Dallas, boom, he gets injured in his first game. That's like buying a brand new PlayStation and finding out that it doesn't even turn on. But it gets worse. Just a month later, Kyrie Irving tore his ACL, sidelining him for the remainder of the season, maybe even longer. And it doesn't stop there. More and more Mavericks players have also missed time due to injury. It's like someone put a bad luck spell on this team and are now left with very few players as the regular season enters its final stretch. To add insult to injury, Quentin Grimes, who Dallas traded away this past NBA trade deadline, is on a tear. When the Mavericks traded for Caleb Martin and sent Quentin Grimes to the Sixers, nobody thought it would be that big of a deal, just another mid-season move. But since being traded, Grimes has had more 30-plus point games than Paul George has had this season, including multiple 40-plus point games in just a short amount of time as a Sixer, while Caleb Martin has barely even played for the Mavs. It looks like Dallas might have moved on from Grimes a bit too soon. And just like how Red Sox fans were mad at their owner, Mavs fans are not happy with their general manager.
Well, let's be clear, I'm the one making the decision.
What if I told you that the Mavericks' own GM has suspiciously close ties to the Lakers? Harrison and Lakers GM Rob Pelinka has had a close relationship for years, dating back to when Pelinka was Kobe Bryant's agent and when Harrison was an executive at Nike. So it's very likely that their strong bond made it possible for the Lakers to get Luka at a discount. Did his long-standing ties to Pelinka cloud his judgment? Think about it. If the goal was truly to move Luka, the Mavericks could have gotten a massive haul from other teams. So many franchises would have thrown everything they had at Dallas for a player like Luka, but instead he ends up in Los Angeles with a GM that Nico has been friends with for years. There's a couple other things that may have influenced Nico's decision to pull the trigger on the trade. Number one is the fact that he also reportedly has a strong relationship with Anthony Davis that he built during his tenure at Nike. hockey. And number 2, back in June of last year, Rich Paul said that Nico Harrison is like an uncle to Bronny. So if that's the case, then I think it's safe to assume that he has a friendly relationship with LeBron as well. No wonder he only wanted to do business with the Lakers.
And I'd like to give Rob Pelinka a lot of credit. You know, trades, you guys have been around here, trades don't happen at the smallest level without stuff getting out. And Rob and I were able to have, you know, really intense conversations over the course of, you know, 3 or 4 weeks that started out as a coffee that, you know, was more, hey, would you ever, I don't know, would I? Let me think of, you know, and then it built upon that. And, you know, we kept it between us. We had to keep it tight. J Kidd didn't know about it.
So now people are wondering, is this a curse? Did the Mavericks mess up so bad that the basketball gods are punishing them? Just like the Red Sox after they traded Babe Ruth? Think about it. The Red Sox gave up Babe Ruth and
I guess we'll know in about 80 years.
Team fell apart. The Mavericks gave up Luka Doncic and suddenly everything is going wrong. But here's the thing, curses can be broken. The Red Sox finally won again after 86 years.
For the first time in
that was
86
fun.
years.
Big
Can you
Boppy.
believe it? 86 years it took us to bring it home.
There's no more jinx, no more hex, no more monkey on their back.
Thank God.
Screw the curse.
The curse is over.
Well, wow. Damn, man. All right. My views, I don't think it's a curse. I don't know. Okay, even if it was a curse, it's way too early to say so. Has this been a disastrous start? Absolutely, it has been. But, you know, we're talking one season here. And now if stuff like this continues to happen year after year, about 5 years later, you might hear something different from me going, wow, I guess that was the freaking curse of Luka, you know, or whatever we're going to call it by then. But yeah, 2 injuries happening, I can't just automatically go, well, that's the curse. You know, they're cursed forever. Dallas will never win again. I don't think so. However, there are some similarities there. I can't deny it because the timing. Mark Cuban sells the majority shares to some real estate people who obviously don't really care so much about the team. They got other things on their mind, other priorities, and yeah, they get rid of their franchise player the first season in. Like, I see the similarities, and it is a little disturbing, but only time will tell. Anyways, you guys, you let me know what you think in the comments down below. Is this the curse of Dallas? Is this the curse of Luka? Did they just curse their franchise? And now that Mark Cuban has majority, you know, stepped away by the majority, and there's basically just some like evil corporate, you know, greedy suits in his place now. Is the franchise doomed to fail until at least we get to the next set of ownership? Let me know what you think. And like that vid if you haven't done so yet. I'd appreciate it. Subscribe if you want more content like this, and hit that bell if you want to get notified for the next one. Everyone, I appreciate you watching, and never forget to be water, my friends. Peace out.